What's up, fun guys and fun gals? Psych-E here. So today I am doing a little update on the cube substrate method slash recipe. Just gonna do a quick video. I just gotta make some substrate, so I thought I might as well share how I like to do things. This is a very easy, simple recipe. 2 ingredients. You're gonna need vermiculite, and you are gonna need coco coir, which is coconut-like husk fiber, and water. I guess that's 3 ingredients. And the way I like to do it is I like to pasteurize. You can get away most of the time with kind of like sterilizing your substrate, which instead of doing this whole method, you can just grab like a bucket and you put all your ingredients in there, get your water to a boil, and then you just dump it in there, put the lid on, and then you just wait about 24 hours. And what that's going to do is it's going to sterilize your substrate, and once it's cool, you can go ahead and use it. I've been in a new location for about a year now, and I used to do my techniques like that, but now I've been getting contamination, so I had to switch to pasteurizing. And so this is how I do it. So first method is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to measure out our ingredients. So typically coco coir comes in a brick. It's usually between like 600 to like 700 grams. My favorite ones weigh 680 grams. Unfortunately, these ones are like 620. It doesn't matter too much though. That's just going to affect kind of like your water ratio. So what you want to do is you want to have 1 brick of this. You want to have 8 cups of vermiculite. The vermiculite I choose, I like to have mine. It's not like too coarse. It's decently fine. It's kind of like a medium vermiculite. And then for the water, if you have like bricks between 600 to 650, I would go with 13 cups of water. If you have the 680 grams bricks, I would go with 16 cups of water. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring your substrate to field capacity. And field capacity is where you have enough water in there where it's not completely like taking over the substrate, but it is wet enough that it's retaining enough moisture. So mushrooms are 90% water, and so we want them to have enough water to grow when we make our tubs. So field capacity should look about like this. You should be able to squeeze, like if you squeeze pretty hard, you should have a few droplets. But if you squeeze, you should feel it wet, but you shouldn't. It should not be leaking, and it shouldn't also be completely dry. So this is a pretty decent example of like field capacity. I'm squeezing pretty hard right now, and we've got some droplets. So if you were gonna do the bucket tech, that method is just that's gonna be fine. Your boiling water is gonna sterilize everything, and that's gonna be ready to use. Now, if you need to pasteurize, this is a method I found that I enjoy doing. I'll grab some grow bag, unicorn bags. These are 0.5 micron filters, so these are used usually for like making blocks, like fruiting blocks. And so what I'll do is I'll usually grab 2 each recipe. I can usually get away with filling 2 bags to about halfway. So, and then that gives me kind of like the ability to fill one with spawn once it's cooled, shake it all up, and then I can kind of make my tote, and then with the other bag it can be used as my kind of like top layer. So I like to do it this way. I'll just roll a time lapse of me filling the bags, and yeah, we'll get to it. Okay, so bags are filled, and one thing I forgot to mention that is a big difference between this and just the bucket tech is that when for the bucket tech you're boiling your water and dumping it on top. For this one, you do not want to boil your water. What I usually like to do is just kind of bring into like a lukewarm. That way it helps break down the coco coir, but it doesn't reach a temperature where it's gonna like sterilize. Now, this is the second important thing. Get yourself a meat thermometer. Most bacterias that you don't want will die around 130 to 135 degrees Fahrenheit. And so what you do is you stick your thermometer. You want to make sure it's about in the middle of the bag, and then be careful not to poke it through, because that will ruin your bag, and that's going to ruin your pressure cooking and all that stuff. So no bueno. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fill this up with, we're going to fill our pressure cooker with our bags. I have the one thermometer for this one. I got my second bag in here. We're going to fill it as high as we can with water and bring it to a boil. Once the thermometer reaches around 130 Fahrenheit to 135 Fahrenheit, we're going to go ahead and shut the stove, and then I'm going to go ahead and remove my thermometer and put the lid to my pressure cooker. I like to use a pressure cooker for this because of that lid function. So I'll shut it down, and then the internal temperature should keep rising to about 150 degrees Fahrenheit. And so you want to leave the lid on and for at least 90 minutes preferably, but you can honestly just kind of like leave it overnight and it will reach a temperature, and then by the next day you can go ahead and use your substrate. Alright, so I thought I was going to be done with the video, but just let's finish it up. So as you can see, we are just reaching 130 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to remove the thermometer and then turn off the heat, put the cap on, and then we're just gonna let it sit overnight. I'll probably also move it from this side to this side, just because this one's cooler. But yeah. Alright, here we go. Lid is on, and it's just gonna sit overnight, 24 hours, and I'll be ready to use it. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Psych-E.